All right, so we as a couple have been digging into the book of Ephesians, and we have been going over chapter 4. Verse 2 is really where we want to hone in, looking at some character attributes of Christians. So we're going to do a several part series. We're going to really just take one attribute at a time and talk about that candidly and kind of what we've been learning and discussing together in our home through lots of tears and questions and just engagement with one another. So Ephesians 4:2 reads, "With all humility and gentleness, with patience, showing tolerance for one another in love." And we are really going to hone in first on that word, patience.
I think you mentioned this. These are all attributes or markers that define what it means to be a Christian. These are things that proceed out of you, not. Oh yeah,
You're shaking the camera.
These are not emotions.
No.
These are character qualities.
Yes, and you've probably heard us say this before, but you cannot read your definition of patience into the Bible. The Bible was written for us, but it was not written to us. So we really have to step into a different culture and time and ask ourselves, what does Paul mean by the definition of patience in the time that he wrote this?
So patience, in our definition, it has more of an emotional quality to it. If you look at the word, how it began, it means literally a wide and big soul. So that probably doesn't mean diddly squat to us. What is a wide and big soul? This is about temperament. This is about the depth and the quality of your character. Do you have the depth and temperament to withstand annoyances, frustrations, to where they don't come out in an emotion of anger or annoyance, things like that. So this is not about the outburst. This is about the thing inside of you. That's
it's your character.
It's your character.
I have written down that it's literally a long temper versus the opposite of a short temper. We had the conversation that temper is an emotion. So when I hear of this, I think of short or long temper coming out of your temperament, which is a character attribute. You literally have to work at this. It is, it's a willing. You have to put in the effort not to have the emotional outbursts that we sometimes have. We are parents. We have a 5-year-old. There are times that it is a challenge to really exercise patience and to have the character qualities that we need to have to not have the emotional outburst against her.
I think it really goes back to meditating on the wisdom of God, especially as a parent. That helps you develop the depth of your character. And that really helps you control when is it appropriate to get after your child, so to speak. When is it appropriate just to let the child go? We tend to act on our own wisdom, not on the wisdom of God that we read in the Bible. That's why the Bible and the Scriptures is so important. It gives us wisdom to be able to parent well. A lot of the times when we don't parent well, it's because it's our mind and our will, not God's.
Not the will of God.
And patience is a big deal in parenting. Do you have the depth of soul to put up while your kid's exploring the world? Your kid is learning what it means to be a kid, what it means to explore the world. Do you have the patience and the depth of character to allow that to happen, or are you putting your finger on everything because it's an annoyance to you? And I think that's a big thing to remember. God lets us explore. He guides us. Why don't we let our kids explore and guide them and not put the hammer down?
So patience is a part of your character, but the outburst that comes from that is an emotion.
It's
an emotion. We can't view patience as an emotion. It's literally your character. If you are constantly finding yourself losing your temper on little things, on your spouse, on your child, on people around you at work, that's an emotional response that your character needs work.
Absolutely.
We were having the conversation too, right? We all just experienced, probably the first time in our life, a pandemic. So share with them what you were telling me in the kitchen. just about how people responded in that, and what the right way to respond with patience would have been.
I don't remember what I said, to be honest with you.
You were talking about people seeing us as Christians. What would have been?
Oh, yeah. So I think, when we talk about these character traits, these are, we call it the upside down kingdom when we talk about this.
Living differently than the kingdom of the world.
Yeah. When the world falls apart, do you join them in losing your mind, so to speak, losing your patience, your gentleness, your humbleness, all these attributes in Ephesians? Or are you the thing that looks different? Are you the thing that has the depth of soul to be gentle, to be patient, to be kind, to be loving? And that's the thing that should attract certain people. Certain people will see that in you and want to know why you are acting different than everybody else. It's not something that everybody will be attracted to. The Bible makes that pretty clear. But certain people will see this. It's what the Israelites were supposed to be in the Old Testament. They were supposed to be attractive to the nations around them, so the nations would want to come in and experience what they were experiencing in their character. And that's, I think everybody probably knows somebody that just has such a depth of character that you're like, why?
Why are they cool,
different?
calm, and collected when the world is literally on fire and falling apart?
Yeah.
And I want to just encourage anybody, speaking from personal experience, as somebody who did not live out that character attribute. And honestly, this is a new revelation for me. I'm learning as I'm digging into the book of Ephesians, and God's really teaching me and showing me what my character's supposed to be like. But when the pandemic happened, I did not have these character qualities. You did, but I did not. And I joined the sub-Christian bandwagon. I was loud and are fighting for freedom and all of these things, which was not the correct choice. But there is something beautiful about how God's character works, because now that I have an understanding of these attributes, these character attributes of a Christian, now that I have an understanding of what patience really means, I'm responsible for that now, and I'm thankful that I have learned much, and that I
still learning.
Yes, but I'm thankful to have the revelation of what I shouldn't have done versus what I should have done, and now I get to grow forward in that and know what patience should look like moving forward. Barring there's another fire in the world, or my child has asked me the same question 200 times, or I'm tired, or I don't feel well. I have an understanding of patience now, and now I have a responsibility to will my character towards that attribute.
Yeah, that's good. There's a bunch of excuses that we could pull out of why we act a certain way. And that's
everybody else is doing it.
I'm tired.
I don't feel well. Yeah.
Those are all excuses. And if I read the Bible
this
correctly,
influencer, this believer that I follow is doing this or saying these things, so that's how I should act. There's so many different layers and excuses that we could have, but what matters is what this book says.
There's the wisdom.
Yeah,
it's a revelation that's supposed to change our lives. And if you think of it that way, it will change your life.
Yeah. So that is the character attribute of patience that we find in Ephesians 4:2. Next, I think we will look at gentleness. Some Bibles may say meekness. I really like the term meekness, that we will dig deeper into that attribute and what that looks like for us as believers to literally live these character qualities out, because that's what the Bible tells us we should look like as Christians. And if we don't, then we really need to stop and evaluate some things.